as well. So let's get right to it with the best reporters in the biz right here on NFL Network and the Lead Block.
Lead Block.
We say hello to Randy Moss. He's in Kansas City with the Chiefs this morning. James Palmer in Tampa. Randy, the Chiefs have a lot of depth at wide receiver. Could they get Sammy Watkins back in time to get him in the lineup on Sunday?
He says he's feeling great. He practiced a little bit yesterday. He says he expects to play on Sunday, and he missed the last two playoff games because of a recurring calf injury. And keep in mind, in last year's Super Bowl, when the 49ers were so focused on Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, Watkins kind of snuck in there with 98 yards receiving and a key 38-yard catch in the fourth quarter that set up the Chiefs' go-ahead touchdown. Watkins also had some interesting things to say this week about his attitude. Before playing with the Chiefs, he was with the Bills and the Rams. He said that back then, he didn't specifically use the word diva, but he said he was obsessed with money and stats. Now he says he's done it about face. He still wants to do well. He still likes his money, but now he realizes that putting the team first and winning championships is even more important. Now to Tampa and James Palmer.
Well, thank you, Randy. Bruce Arians said this week there is one position group in his mind that has not gotten nearly the credit that they deserve, and he says it's his outstanding offensive line. He said they have played brilliantly over the last few weeks. Now, they've played well all season. They were just fourth in the NFL in sacks allowed this year, but they played 3 road games in the playoffs against 3 teams in the top 10 in sacks, and Brady, after each one of those games, raved about the time that he had to throw the football. Now, the last time they lost a game was against the Chiefs in Week 12. The Chiefs are 19th in sacks, but their defensive line coach Brendan Daly told me this week that is a big reason why he sees the Bucs are in this game, the way that offensive line, Kay, has played. And Rob Gronkowski told me recently, when Tom Brady has time to throw the football, he always makes the right decisions.
Seems like just yesterday, James, I was texting you about where I should rank Gronk among fantasy tight ends going into the season, and here he is playing in another Super Bowl. Thank you so much, James. Go get yourself a floaty and a nice little drink with an umbrella in it. We've got Randy Moss in Kansas City still with these Chiefs. They'll, of course, head down to Tampa at the end of the week. Now, the Chiefs dealing with some issues. 3 days away from Super Bowl 55, they had the whole barbershop COVID drama. 2 starting tackles are out. That is huge. And on top of that, they're playing this red-hot Buccaneers team in their backyard, their home stadium. So on paper, things feel, or at least look, a little bit stacked against this crazy good Chiefs team. What is the biggest threat, do you guys think, to Kansas City and them securing a run it back situation?
I like this question. It amuses me because we're now...
It's kind of cute.
It's cute, and it's like, it's the mystery meat lunch lady. Like, we've done them all.
Yeah.
Put it all together. We've done, what's the key to beating the Chiefs? What's the key to slowing down the Chiefs? What is the biggest threat to their victory? Which weekend song best describes how the Chiefs will lose this game?
Get a little pumping.
It's all, I'm just doing, what needs to happen for Tampa to be, we've done them all, and I love it. And my answer to this is the biggest threat to the Chiefs' victory in this one is a sequel. What do I mean? I mean a sequel of last year's Super Bowl. Try to remember what happened with Patrick Mahomes in this game. You get lost in how he won. It might have been Patrick Mahomes' worst game of the season. We're going to show you right here, roughed up, knocked down. We had Bosa. We had all sorts of Buckner. He threw 2 interceptions in this game. This is what it is. I wish I had something more sophisticated after 2 straight weeks of saying that they need to hit Mahomes and pick him off. The only sophistication I can offer is I've done the work. You cannot beat the Chiefs if they don't commit 2 turnovers and give up 3 sacks. It doesn't happen. Look at this image of Mahomes right here. Dirty, filthy, tired. They need that image against Tampa Bay. Otherwise, the Chiefs are going to run away with this thing. They need to do hell out of them, just like the Niners did. Make no mistake about that Niners Super Bowl. The Niners had them. Yeah. They had them. They're up 10. The Wasp play, as much as it was great for the Chiefs, was a ridiculous breakdown by the Niners. You don't give up that play. Jimmy Garoppolo misses the jump shot that Tom Brady will not miss. The Niners had them. If the Chiefs show up this year like they did last year, they will lose this game. They need a sequel.
Wow. Yeah, Kyle, you got to hit Patrick Mahomes. I mean, you do. I mean, that defensive line, you talk about Jason Pierre-Paul, who we just showed, Vita Vea and Ndamukong Suh. I mean, these guys got to dominate the line of scrimmage, and they have to be able to provide pressure on Patrick Mahomes without sending a lot of the extra blitzers, right? You got to be able to get to Patrick Mahomes with just 4 and be able to drop your 7 guys into coverage and be able to double Tyreek Hill and double also, Travis Kelce.
You need a quadruple, right?
Yeah, you just have to. 4 people have to try to eliminate those 2 players, and you just got to play matchup zones underneath. But you're absolutely right. When you get to Patrick Mahomes, Like, even if he does throw the football, you got to make sure he felt that you were there. I always tell people there's a competitive thing to playing defense, too. There's a competitive thing to hitting a quarterback and making sure that he feels that you're around. And hopefully you can force Patrick Mahomes to throw some interceptions and have some mistakes, because if not, I just don't see a way for Tampa Bay to win, maybe. But also you look at Tampa Bay's offense, Tom Brady, making the plays when they're there to make. Don't force the ball into any tight windows. And guess what? When it's a light box, when it's, there's not a lot of guys in the box, check to a run like you've been doing all season.
Give it to Fournette.
Just give it to him. Yeah. Because I really think the Tampa Bay offense's identity should be running the football. Their offensive line is better when they're running the football. You protect Brady better when you're running the football. And I really think that if Bruce Arians and Byron Leftwich understands what this offense is, I think they'll do that, and they'll give themselves the best chance.
Great analysis.
Yeah, it is. And especially when you're talking about the offensive line play, because
go, Peter.
Make no mistake about this. The Chiefs are coming in hobbled on the offensive line. Let's take a look at who they had starting in the O-line last year when everyone was healthy and they had their best players.
Okay.
Versus what they're going to have this year. Guys, Eric Fisher was a first overall pick.
Yep.
Okay. Duvernay Tardif dominated at guard. He was a Pro Bowler. Mitchell Schwartz is the best right tackle in football. We're looking at the projected starters for Remmers, Allegretti, Ryder, Wisniewski, and Wiley. Let's get to know these guys, because this might not be the sexiest storyline. This is Mike Remmers, guys. Von Miller had 2.5 sacks while Mike Remmers was trying to stop him in a Super Bowl a couple years ago. This is his 8th NFL team in 9 years. That's your starting left tackle.
That's the guy that JPP's not familiar with.
That is who JPP has no idea who is, despite playing him twice in the regular season.
You're probably going to have to put a tight end to his side. I mean, seriously, you're going to give this guy help.
Nick Allegretti is playing at left guard. This is a 7th-round pick out of Illinois. Was a high school wrestler. Like, that's your left guard. He's going to be dealing with Vita Vea and Sue. Center, Austin Reeder, another 7th-round pick. Guy who joined the Chiefs in 2018. Fine. He's a good player. Right guard, Stephen Wisniewski. We know his name. He's a 10-year veteran.
Penn State.
With the Eagles when they won a Super Bowl. Won a Super Bowl last year with the Chiefs, going for his 3rd.
Okay.
And the last one is Andrew Wiley, the right tackle. Undrafted free agent out of Eastern Michigan. This is who's going to be dealing with Shaq Barrett or JPP. Look, I don't want to go down this in a negative light for Kansas City, but I cannot stress enough.
That's what it sounds like.
That this offensive line, it's not made of Pro Bowlers and All-Pros. So when you've got the best defensive front coming at you, and it's not just Barrett and JPP and Sue. Levante David and Devin White, they fly. They come from up the middle. So, that front 7 is going to be coming, and Todd Bowles is sending the blitz.
Yeah.
Those 5 guys, who we do not mention a lot in the show because it's offensive line play, are not the usual 5 guys. And Duvernay Tardif is watching, and Mitchell Schwartz is likely watching, and Eric Fisher might be watching. They'll also be watching Super Bowl.
It's so true.
Good luck.
Yeah. I will say this, though. Even if the Bucs D-line plays like lights out and that offensive line does not play well, I still think the Chiefs are putting up points, right? I don't think it's going to completely stifle them. So isn't it? I just think that, what do you mean? I just think it's Patrick Mahomes with all of those weapons, that scheme, Eric B. I just think they'll still put up points. So isn't it Brady? Doesn't Brady end up then being the biggest threat to this team? Brady, time and time again, in those situations, making that play at the end?
Yeah, and listen, we're 2 weeks away from Brady going nuclear and throwing 3 interceptions in about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And Peter's detailed that there's been some times in the Super Bowl when he's had letdowns. But they're both going to have to score points, big time. And I think it was very telling as it pertains to the offensive line. When Mahomes was asked this week, what do you got to do? He says, get rid of the ball quickly, really quickly. It was the first thing that came out of his mouth. I think it was telling. He knows.
I just think it's like on paper, yes, you can stop the. Can you stop the Chiefs' offense?
Well, I mean, again, just like with injuries, a lot of this stuff is on paper. We're going to see on game day if they can actually block these guys. But I mean, you just look at what JPP's done this year. You look at these pass rushers. You're going to have some help with these guys. If they were that good, they would have been the starters. Can't win in this league without a great offensive line and a secondary